Billy Gonzales, wide receiver coach, answering questions for Florida Victorious. Your son Cole was an exceptional baseball player. How did he choose football over baseball at the college level? I think growing up in a college football atmosphere with me as a position coach for the last 20 years, pretty much in the SEC, he just kind of got acclimated to it. He was on the sidelines with me. I got some great clips of him helping me coach my players on the sideline, run around, and it worked out pretty good for him. I'm extremely proud of him. So that's kind of how it worked out in the long run. So
SoCon Player of the Year, but one of the fastest baseball players I've seen at the high school level.
Did a great job. Loved it. I watched some of his teammates that are still playing right now at the collegiate level. He's got them at different schools, and they're doing a fantastic job. So, but yes, he was a SoCon Player of the Year 2 years ago. First team all conference player last year. So again, like I said, extremely excited and proud of him for what he's done and accomplished so far. When you guys came to Florida in 2005, people didn't think the spread would work. How were you guys able to build those teams that dominated the SEC and won national championships? Well, I think the one thing that we did is, Coach Meyer, we changed our offense. What we did is when we got here, we found the speed in the SEC was a little different, and we had to fit our personnel and adapt to the players that we had on our offense. We had some fullbacks, Billy Latsko, Eric Rutledge. We had some guys that weren't necessarily spread offense guys, but they were extremely valuable for what they did. So we kind of tweaked some of the stuff that we did offensively, and we adapted our quarterback, we adapted the system, and then we went out and the vision and the goal that we wanted to try to accomplish under Coach Meyer at the time was to build an elite team, build the fastest team in the SEC. Take a look at what we did. We assembled a group of receivers that could fly. We assembled some running backs in the backfield, Jeff Debs, Chris Rainey, guys that when you touch the ball, the whole vision and the whole goal was whoever touched the ball had the opportunity and the ability to take it and make 90,000 people in the swamp stand up because they were electric when they touched the ball. So that was one of the things we talked about, and that's kind of when, the spread offense that Coach brought with him, we adapted to our players.
Follow, I don't know that I've ever seen you wear the rings.
The rings are put away in their ring cases back at the house right now, but awesome. I respect him. I did find in my closet the other day, I was doing spring break, I had house cleaning duty. So I'd soft pressure wash the outside, power wash the concrete and everything else. But I was looking through some of the closets cleaning, and I found an old championship back then when you won national championship. They gave us a jacket. So I'll break that out sometimes. It's pretty cool. What's on your game day playlist? I've got a little bit of new, a little bit of old when it comes to listening to music. I usually listen to Pandora, but if you were to say, what do you have on there right now? Stations, Riley Green to Kenny Chesney to old school, some old school music from the Platters to Keith Sweat to Boston to Night Ranger, and then whatever I'm connected to, my son's Apple iTunes or whatever it is. So who knows what pops up when I'll be listening, and for some reason or another, I just looked at it the other day and I got Kids Pop 2024 on there too. So whatever I've subscribed to keeps coming back through, but I listen to a little bit of everything. So old school, country, rock and roll, a little bit of everything. So who's your favorite player that you have ever coached and why? I really don't have a favorite player that I've ever coached. You know, I think one of the things I take great pride in is telling my players, if you play for me, you're going to be a part of my family for the rest of your life. And you know, that's something that means a lot to me. There's others that I have an opportunity to stay closer to just because of location or where they're at. But I'm extremely proud of every single player, whether they've went on and played in the NFL or whether they haven't. The biggest thing for me is I wish every one of them to be extremely successful. Hopefully, take a little piece of me with them in the journey in life. Uh, so I've got. If you were to ask, I don't have a favorite. I have a bunch of players that I love that I would put into that category. Which person or coach had the biggest impact on your career? Well, probably Coach Meyer. You know, Coach Meyer was my position coach in college, and then gave me the opportunity to start out with him in the Mid American Conference at Bowling Green. Then traveled with him to Utah to Florida. So kind of that transition as far from a player. We talk about the player-coach relationship, if done correctly, should be one of the best relationships you've ever had or you'll ever experience besides your immediate family and your future family that you're going to have. So, you know, so I'd probably have to say coach right off the get-go. What advice would you give to a student or a young coach in this field? You know, I think the biggest thing is, you know, be where your feet are right now. Continue to hard work. Don't worry about the future. Do a great job in taking care of your players. Don't be afraid to work. Don't be afraid to put the time and invest in. And then again, you got to remember it's about the players that you're currently coaching. Invest into your student athletes that you're working with right now. You know, everybody wants to, I'd probably say everybody wants to climb the ladder of success, which I'm 100%. I wanted to, but at the same time, be where your feet are planted at right now. Do a great job. Invest into the program where you're at. And that's gonna be kind of the same advice I'd give to anybody that's at a program, no matter what age you are. Invest into your players right now. Be where you're at. And again, don't be afraid to do the little things, hard work, the details. I look back at some of the advice that I had from some of the coaches that I was a part of some great coaches. I'm still involved with being a part of a great coach with Coach Napier, and continue to learn. Don't be set in your ways. Take a little piece of every coach that you're going to have the opportunity to work for, and because they've all got a ton of advice that you can continue to learn. What do you do outside of work? Your favorite hobby? I hang out with my family, my kids, my wife, my son, my daughter. I think that's the most important piece to me is you can get consumed in the profession, which you should. You should. Again, I call it the profession, but again, that's why I say the players that I'm coaching, they are my family. So I'm going to be consumed with my family, my players that I have. But outside, if you were to ask me what I like to do, I like to go to the beach. I think the water's intoxifying. I like the sand. You know, I try to pick a different island that I haven't been to get a chance to get away for at least a week throughout the year and find something new, find something that's really cool on an island that I've never been a part to visit. So I would say those that still my family, and then relaxing at the beach somewhere. What Gator great would you have loved to have the opportunity to coach? Whew, that's a tough one. There's been some great players that have been through here. You know, I show highlight videos, and when I show highlight videos, I don't just include the current, I include the past. I think in order to work at the University of Florida, if you don't know the past, you really don't know the present. And so there's been some great ones. You know, obviously, you can go back through it. I'm specifically talking about wide receivers, not just if you were to say there's been some great players all the way through, but I mean, there's been some great football players that I would have loved the opportunity to have a chance to work with, obviously. But obviously, they had great football coach before So that's what made him a great football coach and a great player. The greater greats, they've done a great job. They were put in those positions because, they had a great position coach. So it's not just them, but I respect the position coaches, Double D, that was here before me, in the body of work that he did, that what he put into his players, and the success that translated with his players. So I had a chance to run into him at Spurrier's during the recruiting season, and again, I got tons of respect for him. And again, I don't know if I could pick one of those players, but they've all been dynamic. Again,
Cubic Comet.
like, listen, he came and he spoke to the wide receivers here this past year. He came to a practice. Carlos is, I have nothing but tons of respect for him for what he did. Again, like I said, he came to a practice before he went and spoke to a Gator club. I had him give him the opportunity to come speak to the unit afterwards. But those guys are all everything that they've done and invested into the program. So I think there's too many. I think there's too many. But that's a good thing, because if there's too many, that means you got a ton of Gator greats. Orange or blue? Probably blue for me. That'd be the color that I would think about when I first think about orange or blue. I think about the blue. I think about the orange is a highlight, but I do like the orange accents on the shirts and everything else that we get gear wise. If you were stranded on a desert island, which one of your players would you give the best? If I were stranded on a desert island, which one of your players would give you the best chance of survival? Whew, like take with me as part of it, and I'm stranded with them, or somebody that's going to say,
And it's just the two of you. Who's getting you off the island, or making a home and surviving on the islands?
current or former?
Either.
You're giving me some questions that I would probably say, this is a tough one right here. This is a tough one, because there's a bunch of players that I've coached that give you different options. There's players they bring something different, and I'm gonna skirt this question and tell you that I'm not gonna be able to answer this question, because every player that you have is a little different, and they're gonna bring something different. So if I were stranded on a desert island, which one of your players? I'm gonna skirt that question.
It could be a different position group. Caleb Rios is an Air Forceman, engineer.
Listen, I've coached some guys that have been in the service. They've had prior service. They've come back. I've coached some guys that are just extremely tough. That's a tough one. I'm gonna skirt around this one, because I can't.
You have to release the line.
Listen, I can't tell you that one. There's a bunch that I would put into this category. I'm gonna skirt that question. I don't know if that's fair or not. Which coach on staff would have the best pro day? Obviously, you got to go with one of the young cats that just graduated not too long ago, and they still got that skill set. All right, if you were to say positionally, if you were to say at my position, I got to go with Coach Lucas, just because he's a former NFL guy, and he had one of the fastest times when he ran his pro day that consisted with the Bucks, and I do know that I got backup proof from the Buck staff. Big Caleb at the offensive line position. He's one of the younger coaches, but I've seen him move, and he's extremely strong. If I were to say at the quarterback position, I don't know about that one. Running back position, I'm trying to go with some of these young coaches. Geesh. If you were to say on the staff right now, you got to probably go with the two DB coaches, the two young coaches that probably have the ability versus some of the older coaches on staff right now.
Lace him up.
He gets out there and he works out. I see him in the morning still. So some of them younger coaches that would be in that category. Who are some of the biggest trash talkers on the team?
We've had some good answers to this, though.
Oh, I don't know if they're trash talkers, but I'd say that they're vocal. I'd say Cam. Let me say Cam. That wouldn't Caleb. I try to focus on my group. So I see the guys that are vocal when they get the microphone. I think to play DB, I think you better have the ability to have a mouthpiece. So I'm gonna say a couple of the DBs on the team that I definitely know can. The D line's always gonna have some dudes that can rally up and talk a little bit. At my position, I'm gonna throw Dallas Wilson in the ability to throw some verbiage out. I'm gonna say Trey VB3 has got the ability to throw some vibes out when he gets out there one-on-one. So those couple of guys. What was your first experience like running out of the tunnel game? That's incredible. So what is your first experience like running out of the tunnel on game day? It's special. I've always said this, to have that opportunity to take the tunnel, to come out, to see those guys. And you got to remember, as a coaching staff, we always come out at my position as an assistant. I'm always on the football field early. You know, that's a head coach deal. He gets to run out with the field, on the field with the players. But I've been here long enough and seen it happen as many times. When you hear 90+ thousand reverberate in the stadium, it is loud. You got the fireworks, you got the flames coming up. You know, I'm fond of seeing it on a night game. It's electric. I think it's something that's, to have that experience as a player, I think that's truly special. I don't know if it's comparable to anything. You know, I still get goosebumps getting the chance to see those guys run out of the tunnel. I think it's special. Coach Napier taking the field, leading the team. I think that's a special experience for anybody to have that opportunity. What's your favorite movie? I'm an action guy. So anything that's action oriented. I don't know if I have a favorite movie. I know I'm skirting around a lot of these, not giving specifics, but anything that's action oriented, war movies, athletic movies. You know, if you were to ask me something's kind of in there action wise right now, you know, those, you got the series that come out on Netflix, that the Reachers and you know, all those kind of different things, Amazon Prime, whatever it may be, but anything that has to do action packed.
You said war movie, and I immediately went Saving Private Ryan.
I'm sorry?
You said war movie, and I immediately went Saving
Private Ryan, anything similar to that. If you were building a 4x1 relay team, who are your 4 guys? Current, past, everybody?
No. You had actual Olympic stars in the past. So
Okay.
we're not fair to have it's against Jeff or Jeff.
All right. I know we got some dudes that can run on the perimeter. If I were to go 4x1, I'd go J. Mike. He was a 10, 300-meter kid. I'd go Tank, who can, again, roll. I think he's 10-3, 10-4-ish. I'd go Tawaski, because I know he's got AccuTrack 10-5. That last spot, I would probably dip over to the defensive side. Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who's super fast.
Number 11 in your room. Aiden Mizell.
Yeah, I done deal. That's why I'm done. I was just trying to think between Aiden and Waltez, because I know he can roll, But if I were to say my 4 guys right off the get-go would be those far as you just talked about. J. Mike, you got Aiden, you got Tawaski, and you've got Tank. I think those guys all got AccuTrack times. Legit guys that can roll. Now you got to remember, I've got the other guys. You got other guys in my room that I'm looking outside in that are equally as fast. They might be splitting hairs. But if you're saying track times, I'd go off of track times that they've got legit track times, AccuTrack documented times.
That's a wrap.
Good to go?